Hey boys, watch out, there's one here. Ooh, okay, we got him. Alright. Are you good? You good over here? Okay, you guys good? Alright, let's keep going. Wait, where did you go? Oh god, no. Help! Help! Let's beat Halo CE with every enemy as an invisible sword elite. The first thing that the game hits me with is basically an aim labs test. I don't know about you guys, but at least this guy was pretty impressed. Right here is the first heart attack that this mod is going to give me. I should have had a heart rate monitor on for this run, I swear. No game has more effective jump scares than this mod, you'll see later. Now, check this out. Sometimes, you'll pull off stuff like this, and then sometimes you'll pull off stuff like this. Sometimes you pull it off like this, but then sometimes it's this. Now here was the first group that took me a while to get by. At this point, I haven't discovered the Elite's 3 main weaknesses, I'll tell you later. So, I was just playing a progressively harder and scarier aim labs test for this first level, basically. Although the vent area here was hilariously easy because they just lined themselves up nicely. Here is also where I learned a strategy that was very important. Not one of their weaknesses, but this is a good strategy. Exploring around areas you haven't been through yet on this run is terrifying. You don't know how many enemies there are, you can't trust your own vision because you're gonna miss some of them sometimes, and you'll die and lose progress really quickly. So, when you find a relatively safe spot like this, what you want to do is just shoot wildly all over the place to let all of the enemies around you hear you, and then they're gonna come over and you can kill them all safely. Then, once you've killed every enemy, you can leave your safety and immediately get killed by the one that you missed. That didn't happen this time, but oh boy would it happen later. The rest of this level, though, is pretty uneventful, so we'll move on to the next one. I was real worried about this one, guys. I was imagining standing on a grassy hill with dozens of them coming to get me at all angles. We'll see how it plays out, though. I clear the first few enemies, and then I remember that now I need to clear 6 waves of enemies in this open area. Just what I feared. Well, it turns out that in the open is basically exactly where you want these guys, because you just have infinite room to walk straight backwards. Yeah, they're faster than you, but just hit each of their invisible heads really quickly. I mean, it's easy. I actually very nearly complete this area while keeping the Marines alive, but I let the very last elite get up to them. So, without any Marine friends, I get in the Warthog, and I discover the first, but least important of the Elite's 3 major weaknesses. When I'm in a Warthog, or really moving in any vehicle, I am effectively invincible. These guys do absolutely nothing to me. You see here how easy it is to just do donuts and win. So, while we watch some of that, let's quickly go over the details of this run. It's the same as my previous ones. I changed every enemy to the Stealth Elite and just dealt with any weirdness that happens. Whether it makes it easier or harder for me, I'll take whatever I get. I also put on the Infinite Ammo Skull for any run where the enemy I'm killing drops no ammo. I know they drop grenades, but a grenade-only run would have been a bit boring. Lastly, I apologize if YouTube compression makes this video just unwatchable. I upgraded the videos to 1440p for this video, so maybe try that resolution to get more bitrate if you're struggling to see the elites. I'm sorry. So, this level was free the second I got the Warthog, so let's move on to the next. Now I finally get to feel what it's like to spawn without a pistol. A sniper isn't bad, but the reload time and clip size make it way worse than the pistol at killing a million of them running at you at once. So I had to get to safety. And this is where I learned the second most important of the Elite's weaknesses. They can't jump, like, at all. So if I simply get above their chest, I can just stand above them and shoot them as they run up to me. A little cheesy? Absolutely. But so is 15 of them all running at me with insta-kill melees. We fight fire with fire on this channel. Speaking of fire, this level effectively turned into a game of the floor is lava. If I'm ever on the ground, I am in danger. So I hop between rocks to survive. spending minutes at a time making sure each time I move that I got all of them near me. When I got to the grav lift, this scene here was straight out of a horror movie.
We've got contact. Do you see that? Clear. Where'd they go? Where are they? Look out! Run! Covenant bastard! Kill it! Kill it! Kill it! Does anyone see him? I think I saw something. This is suicide! I'll take you all on! Who wants a piece of me?
They never stood a chance, man. Using the high ground gets me into the ship easily. I do feel bad for all the Marines with me, though. They really gotta stop sending people to help me. Now, the hallways in this level were pretty tough already, and then, thinking about the level later in the game where you go through this ship again, but with about 5 times more enemies, that had me scared. But for now, it's nothing that's too bad. The hangar room did take an annoying amount of time to feel safe moving around on the ground for more than a second, but eventually we got there. Now, in this section, I need to escort an NPC, and if he dies, I go back to the last checkpoint just like if I died. How many times do you think he died? Did you guess 3? 'Cause me neither. This run is not ending up so bad, which is nice for my 10k subscriber video. Thank you all for that, by the way. It really does mean a lot to me. Now, this level gives you a warthog right away, so getting to the last part where you need to fight your way up a few floors only took me 15 minutes. Getting up this last part took me about an hour, though. It was tough, there's not too much to jump on, but I did go in with overshield, and there's an active camo power-up that lets me get about 2/3 of the way up. But, instead of, being good, I fell down to the bottom floor and wasted both power-ups, then got a checkpoint. So I had to fight my way up fair and square. I learned here how useful and how dangerous grenades can be. There are plasma grenades everywhere from these guys dying, so sometimes throwing one grenade can cause a chain reaction that just kills all of them. And sometimes you accidentally get yourself caught in that too. It's really fun, and as the run went on, I got much better at weaponizing the Elite's grenade drops. There's not much else to show here, so we'll keep on trucking. While we're trucking through stuff, we do this level again later, but backwards and with way more enemies. I promise it's more interesting then, so we're gonna skip this whole level. I also wanted to skip that level because this is the one I was waiting for. I think this level in my previous Halo CE challenge, All Rocket Flood, was the level that took the most off my lifespan out of all of these challenges, and in this one, I was dreading it. At least you start with a pistol. Speaking of the start, usually there's non-aggro enemies all over the start area, just to show up on your radar to keep you on edge, even though you are safe. Well, now it's the opposite. Now they are aggro, and they don't show up on my radar. Amazing. I don't think it's ever taken anyone 25 minutes to get inside in this mission before, but here we are. As we move inside, there's regular high ground and boxes to stand on, so we make it fairly easily to the first flood room. Okay, in here there are 5 waves with 32 elites in each room. Standing on high ground makes it trivial, you might think. Well, those of you who watched that rocket flood run I mentioned may remember the scariest part about that run. The flood infection forms that normally spawn on the walls and ceilings are now elites that are tenuously stuck in those walls and ceilings. So, after killing what I think is all 5 waves, I don't get a checkpoint, because I only killed, about 25 from each wave. 7 or 8 of them are still in each room, just wiggling in the walls, and sometimes they manage to wiggle out. So, after I spend, not exaggerating, 12 minutes tediously killing all of the elites that come out one by one, I now have to jump down and go down this hall. A hall that already has about 6 of them stuck in the walls and ceilings, ready to come out at you the second you walk by. You also need to walk down this hall to trigger another huge wave at the top of it. So when you come in here, you then need to run back and get to high ground again. But oh no, one of the ones in the side rooms has wiggled out, kills you, and laughs. Time to take 12 minutes to get one more attempt at that. I have no strategy here. Just keep trying to kill the elites up the ramps while watching your back. This is maybe the scariest the run gets. When I get a good run going, I get so on edge. Dying has real consequences here. 12 minutes of tedium. And this elites in the walls stuff isn't just a thing for this room now too. Now that the flood is in the game, the amount of enemies has just quadrupled, and there will be enemies leaking out of the walls and ceilings regularly now. So we have that to look forward to. The rest of the indoor section isn't awful. You'd be surprised how much of it you can just run by, because the amount of corners you go around and doors you go through, a lot of the elites aren't good enough at pathing to find and chase you down. And once I pick up the best weapon in this run, the shotgun, the rest of the inside section is simply easy. Now the outdoor section at the end. It's two open areas surrounded by a little gorge, and look what happens when you walk through that little gorge. That is 32 sword elites set to spawn literally on your head, all at once. This part was another part right out of a horror movie. The first zone outside is just some woods with a dozen of them randomly spread around, stalking you and the Marines. I was trying to save the Marines too, because it made it more fun, but after about 45 minutes out here, I eventually just got a lucky run into the second area and then jumped up on something to get the level done. So this level, the library, is the same hallway a million times, and there is stuff to jump on the whole way. So for this level, I'm just going to show you all my favorite explosion clips back to back. That was a pretty good overview of this level, really, so we're gonna move on, but first, I want you guys to check this out. I just love how a huge group of them looks. Just look at them wiggling around. Hopefully YouTube compression doesn't mess this up. I think it looks cool. At this point in the run, I had enough of jumping on top of things to kill them, so I spawned with the shotgun, and I knew this level would be brain dead easy if I did that. So for this level, I came up with a restriction. No jumping. I was going to play this level like a Doom level, and it was super fun. You would think that an infinite ammo shotgun would be enough to breeze through anything, but when there's actually 50 enemies all running at you down a hall, it does get really hectic, and good use of grenades is required. This level also has some major scary factor. You spend 10 attempts trying to kill a huge group of them, and then one of them leaking out of a wall when you don't expect it after that will scare the life out of you. After taking out a large group, you have to be extremely wary. Now, this bridge is what I was most worried about for this level. First, you have to clear about 20 of them from the bridge as you go across, and then, once you hit this exact spot, 32 of them spawn in front of you and hunt you down immediately. This took me about as long as I expected, really, just over an hour for this checkpoint. The next sections aren't too bad, and the vehicle sections are free as always, so, heading into the final run, I'm feeling pretty good. Do you remember that nightmare scenario I mentioned earlier in the second level? Standing alone on a hill with dozens of them chasing me from every angle. Well, this final section here is that nightmare, but even worse. There are elites all over this wide open area that will decide to run at you whenever they feel like it. Each attempt feels completely different. It's hard to express how hard this part really is, but just trust me this time. The paranoia alone is enough to drive someone mad. I got driven so mad that I did something unspeakable. I jumped. I know, I said I wouldn't. I lied to you, but this part was so hard that I had to do something. I went over to this side of the canyon and snuck by using this little path here, and it turns out there are consequences for lying. Apparently jumping up this way breaks the scripting in some way, and now I had soft-locked the level. Yup, I jumped once, and now I can't complete the level right at the end because the banshees won't spawn. My punishment for lying is having to do the entire level all over again, just so I can try to do the extremely hard ending legitimately this time. In the end, I did it. It only took me 45 minutes once I got back. But doing this level twice was so draining. And then I get hit with the first level where I start without a sniper or a pistol. The first ship section is easy. There's an active camo right at the start that gets you the entire way through, but jumping into the outdoor section, I am now just hunting for a better gun. I successfully play the floor as lava until I get to this sniper. And now, I think the level is going to be easy, but no, immediately after, and I mean immediately, I am confronted with this sight. You may not see it, but there are probably more than 24 elites down here in the water, just hanging out, unseeable. I won't bother you with the strategy here, but basically only like 1 or 2 are visible at a time, so you just need to keep hunting for those ones. At this point in the run, I was an expert at seeing these guys, so we're going to take a break here, and we're going to play a game. I'm going to show you some footage where I know there is at least one elite, and you try and spot it. I'm zoomed in this footage with the sniper, but they can be anywhere on the screen, just so you know. There's going to be 3 rounds, progressively harder. Sorry if YouTube compression screws this up. Here's round 1. Okay, pausing to let you go back and check again before I reveal. The elite is right here. Did you spot that one? Okay, if you didn't, next round. This one is very tough. Make sure to look everywhere. Pausing for a second for you to go back. The elite is right here. I know, that one was mean, but I saw it. So, here's the final one. This one is the hardest. Pausing for a second for you to go back. The elite is over here. If you spotted all 3 of them, great job. So that was a fun game, but for me, it wasn't. Finding all of them was actually extremely difficult. I was stuck here for a long time. Imagine spending 20 minutes, slowly kill all of them as you spot them. You think you've killed them all, you don't see any, you jump down and immediately die, and have to do all of it over. It sucked. I was feeling quite dejected at this point, but here, right here, is where I learned the final weakness of those elites. Me. Hell yeah. I make it to the room with keys, and I start to worry a little bit. I mean, there's no high ground here, but it turns out, and I find this right away, that you can just stand behind this part of the ramp and they're too stupid to find a path to you. The rest of this level is easy, and now we're moving on to the final one. This was the culmination of everything. I had to clear some out without high ground, with just an assault rifle. Then, I had to find high ground where it seemed impossible. This little computer screen saved me about an hour of time, I would say. There was like 1 pixel here where I could stand. Speaking of that, if you stand exactly in the middle of these cafeteria tables, these guys can't get you. The game even taunted me with a shotgun that didn't obey the infinite ammo skull. I have no idea why that happened. I got to the final reactor room and I just rocket jumped my way up and then stayed on these things to not die. When I made it down to the elevator and into the warthog at the end of the level, I knew I was home free. A nice and easy drive awaits. Until I make it to the end. A straight hallway with a bunch of them between me and victory. Dying here means I go back to the very start of the warthog run and need to spend 5 minutes getting back here to try again, but I turn around just in time to get this guy, and then beeline it to the end and finish the challenge. I want to thank everybody who got me to 10k subscribers. Whether you're subscribed or not, even watching the videos is a big help. Subscribing is pretty nice though, you should do it. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a fantastic day.